times I cried while reading these books is extremely unhealthy, and I know it's only gonna get worse from here. Hi bestie, how are you today? I hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to the Best Friend Book Club. I'm so happy you made it. I'm Sarah, and today I'm going to be diving into all the books I read in the month of January, plus the first couple days of February, because it'll make sense. But just like if it's a whole series and I finished it February 1st, I'll just put it all together in the January recap. So I've been so excited to tell you guys about these books. I can't wait to get into them. Let's just jump right in. The first book that I finished this month was Until I Get You by Claire Contreras, which I'll put somewhere on the screen for you. But this was an audiobook that I listened to on Everend, and I think it's available on Kindle Unlimited. So this is a dark hockey romance, which shouldn't go together, but for some reason it worked here. It's a dark hockey romance, dual POV. It follows Lila and Lachlan. And let me just say this now, please, please, please check the trigger warnings, because I read them and was just like, okay, moving on. Well, I listened to them and was like, okay, moving on. But the topics that were covered were way heavier than I had originally anticipated. So I wouldn't say it's dark in the sense that like the romance itself is dark. If you catch my drift, it's more like the things that are happening outside of the romance that are dark and very heavy topics that are happening. So please, please, please check the trigger warnings on that before you jump right into it. Lachlan is the captain of the hockey team, and he is just like this player, like he can get anybody he wants kind of thing, until Lila comes around, and Lila will not give him the time of day, and so now he makes it his mission to get with Lila. So this was a very long book. I think it's over 600 pages. It's split into two parts, and there's a big time jump in between the two parts. I really, really, really liked this book. I went in pretty blind. I just knew it was a dark hockey romance, and that was it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I will say this was my very first Joe Arden audiobook, and I loved it. I loved it so much. Like, I felt like everybody that was like, you have to listen to Joe Arden audiobooks was just exaggerating. They were just making it out to be more than it was. They were not lying. They were truthing, because goodness gracious, I loved every time he was talking. I was like, yes, turn the volume up. I'm listening. I ended up giving this book a 5 out of 5. The smut was smutting for sure. And then the actual plot line of what was happening outside of just their romance was very interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed myself while I was reading this book, and it gave very like touch her and die, who did this to you type energy, while also being a hockey romance. So I loved it. I will say that I was like, okay, I need to listen to another Joe Arden book after this, because duh, he like just blew my mind in Until I Get You. So I highly recommend the audiobook. But then I was like, let me just listen to another book that Joe Arden narrates. I don't care what it's about. I just need to listen to Joe Arden. That leads us to the second book I finished this month, which is Lovely Bad Things. Who's the author? Author is Trisha Wolfe. So Lovely Bad Things by Trisha Wolfe. And I listened to this solely because Joe Arden was narrating. I knew nothing about it, just that it, from the cover, I'll put it somewhere here. From the cover, it looked like a dark romance, and I was like, okay, bet, start. And it was pretty short. I think the book was pretty short, if I remember correctly. So this was like true crime, like, true crime, mystery, thriller, with also paranormal sprinklings in there. I still don't know what I read. I have no clue what was going on in this book. So this is a dual POV, and it follows Halen and Callum. And Halen is this, I want to say like, she psychoanalyzes criminals, and she testified against Callum at the beginning of the book. And then later on in the book, she's like, the only person that can help me with this case is the guy that I put away earlier. So now I need to go and beg him to help me with this case. So Callum is, released, and they're able to work out what happens together. And I really did not like this book. It made almost no sense to me. Like, I couldn't tell if it was trying to be fantasy-ish or if it was just paranormal or what was really happening almost the entire time. And then when it's revealed at the end what's been happening, I was just like, really? That's it? Okay. And on top of all of that, there was like zero chemistry between Halen and Callum, in my opinion. It just felt like they were just both there and not like there was any kind of connection between the two of them. I ended up giving this a 2 out of 5 stars because I did finish it. It was mostly just for Joe Arden and to try to find out, like, does this get good? Answer, no, it didn't. There's a second book. It kind of left off in a place that you have to listen to the next one or read the next one to find out what happens. I don't care what happens, so I'll probably just... I was gonna say I'm gonna look it up. No, I won't. I literally never have to know what happens in that book and I will be fine. The next 2 books that I read were on my Kindle. It was In Your Dreams, Holden Rhodes and Finn Rhodes Forever by Stephanie Archer. These are the final 2 books in the Queen's Cove series. I literally I'm just smiling because I love these books so much. I have a video where I review the entire series, spoiler free. So if you want like the nitty gritty details of how I feel about that, make sure to go check that out. But I will just say I absolutely love this series. I cannot stop recommending it. If you have not read it yet, please go read it. I love, love, love this series. Both of these books, no, actually, I was gonna say both of these books were 5 out of 5s. They weren't. The third one was a 4.5 out of 5. And then the fourth one was a 5 out of 5. I love, love, love these books. Cannot get enough of Holden or Finn. These were just top tier rom-com to me. Love them. These books had me laughing out loud and also then like fanning myself because it's getting hot. I was like, good Lord, these books are so good. Please, please, please read them. The next book that I read was A Lodge Affair by Rachel LaBerge. This is an arc that I got from Rachel and I thoroughly enjoyed this. She sent the cutest PR package. I did an unboxing video. I haven't edited the video yet, but I'll get there. This book was super cute and cozy. It's dual POV. It's following Ivy and Holland. It is opposites attract, grumpy sunshine, small town, slow burn, like the slowest slow burn. I haven't read any Mariana Zapata, so maybe not that slow because I know that like those are really slow, but the slow burn is slow burning. This was good. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. I liked it. It just wasn't mind-blowing to me, but it was still really good. Very cute and cozy, and like I feel like this is a really good summer book. This is perfect for like it's about to become summer, like get a little s'more by the fire, and this book, yes. So that's like the vibe that this book gives off. This book was good. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't the best book I've ever read. And it was just fine. So 3.5 out of 5. Next up was Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. I am so happy that I finally read this book. I've been eyeing it. I keep seeing it at Target. I love this book so much. So the female main character's name is Sara, spelled the exact same way as my name, because I feel like every time I see Sara, it has the H on it. But this one time, no H. And so it follows Sara and Pestilence. And this is, okay. So this is book 1 in the 4 Horsemen series, and each book is about a different horseman. We have pestilence, war, famine, and death. So pestilence is coming to the world, was sent to the world to like spread the plague. And so this book is very gory. I wasn't expecting it to be that way, and I really don't know why, but this was like very gory and just like graphic depictions of people like getting the plague. But I still really loved it. This was true enemies to lovers. Like she's literally trying to murder him, and then he's like, wait, you're kind of cute. This book was so good. I loved it. So this was a 5 out of 5 for sure, no questions asked. I loved the journey that I was taken on with this book, and this isn't fine literature. This is literally just a fun time. I had an amazing time reading this book, so do with that what you will. I immediately after Pestilence picked up War, and I'm only like halfway through it because it was just very repetitive to me from, it was just very repetitive of pestilence into war. It was just, instead of the famine, it's war now. So I just decided to give it a little break because I really do love it. It's just I don't want the same thing back to back. I want a little break in between. And also I feel like the war one is way more violent, duh. But it's just way more violent and intense, and that's just not the mood that I was in when I picked it up. I will get back to it, but for now, just Pestilence, 5 out of 5. This is on Kindle Unlimited. This is enemies to lovers, like I said, slow burn, forced proximity, one horse. One horse will get me almost every single time because it's just so good, especially when they're enemies. Oh my gosh. If you have any recs, any one horse enemies to lovers recs, please leave them in the comments because I will gladly read them. Next up, I listened to The Last Call at the Local by Sara Ruiz. And this one is very special to me because my middle school English teacher wrote this book. I was a little nervous about reading it because I was like, I'm going to be entering the mind of my middle school English teacher. But the vibes were there. I absolutely loved the story, but the audiobook was amazing. I listened to it on Spotify. It's included in my membership. No, this is not sponsored, but if Spotify wants to sponsor me, you know where to find me. So the narrators were great. He has an Irish accent, so immediately, like, that's it, game over. So this is a dual POV following aspiring musician Rain Hart and bar owner Jack Dunn. And something happens at the beginning of the book where she is now feeling like she has to go back home to the States. And he's like, wait, but like, how would you fix my bar? And well, she doesn't know that he's a bar owner when he asks this. He's like, oh, this bar, like, how would you fix it? And she's like, well, I would do X, Y, Z. And he's like, great, you got the job. So she's like the event coordinator, trying to get people to come into the bar, basically. I really, really like this. She has ADHD, he has OCD, and just the healing, the journey they go on together is just very sweet and special, and I really, really enjoyed this book. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. So then I listened to the entire Vicious Lost Boys series by Nikki St. Croix. I opened up the first one. All these audiobooks are like between 4 and 5 hours, so they're really, really short. I listened to the first one because when I clicked on it, the guy starts talking about who the cast is, and I'm expecting him to be like my name and one other girl's name. But there's 5 people narrating this. So I was like, okay, why choose situation? Yes, I'll listen. So I'm listening to it. This is a Peter Pan retelling why choose moment. Not a fan. I had an issue with a lot of things in this series, but more specifically, the fantasy elements in this series just made no sense. There was no rhyme or reason to it. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me, but still I listened to the entire series. I could go on and on. I might make an entire video about this series on its own because I made so many notes while I was listening to it about things that were confusing or like what the heck is happening. So this is 4 books. We have The Never King, The Dark One, Their Vicious Darling, and The Fae Princes. And the magic system just makes little to no sense. And the spice wasn't even that good to me. The spice wasn't that great. So I would give the entire series a like 2 out of 5. I might make a video where I review the whole series. If you want to see it, please let me know. If not, I have no problem keeping my opinions to myself for now. And then I finished up this month with Empire of Storms, wherever I put it, and Tower of Dawn. I did not do the tandem read. I read all of Empire of Storms and then read all of Tower of Dawn. Read them both on my Kindle. I just don't own the physical copy of Empire of Storms yet. I don't want to get too much into either one of these books because there will be podcast episodes about it, but I will say I'm loving this series. It is so amazing. If you haven't started the Throne of Glass series, please start it now. I gave both of these 5 stars. I really don't understand how people don't like Tower of Dawn. Not that I don't understand it at all, but it's more like the vibes are very different, but I still loved every second of both of them. I thoroughly enjoyed myself when I was reading these. I'm glad I didn't do the tandem read, only because I didn't feel like flipping back and forth between the two. But when I do a reread, I will be doing the tandem read just to see how the events flow together. The amount of times I cried while reading these books is extremely unhealthy, and I know it's only going to get worse from here. I'm very nervous to get into Kingdom of Ash because I just know that it's going to emotionally wreck me. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and comment what is your favorite book you read this month. I can't wait to see what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.